Hi everyone, welcome to my first official video of my new channel. I'm really excited to be starting this channel. It's definitely a passion project. I'm just really super excited. I actually became an ordained minister today. So this is like my first official message as part of my ministry of Passion Elevation. So I'm really excited. And I also want to give a special shout out to Mecca. I love you so much. You are so valuable to me. And I'm shouting you out because you gave me the idea for this reading, which I am deciding to use for my first official Passion Elevations video. So thank you for the suggestion. And this is going to be a pick a card reading, okay? And in this reading, for my first official video for this channel, as suggested by Mecca, we're going to be asking our spirit guides what lesson it is that we are learning right now. I did see the cards, but I don't know what the messages are going to be yet. But I have pre-chosen the cards, and I have 3 objects that you're going to be able to choose from to decide which message is for you. So you're going to want to, if you want to meditate on each object and see which one you feel the most drawn to. If you feel drawn to more than one, that's normal because there could be multiple messages for you, or you might feel drawn to one object now and then you might come back to this video later and feel drawn to another object because it could be a different message for you at different times. So I'm going to go ahead and show you the piles and the objects that go with each of them so you can tap into your intuition and see which object you feel the most drawn to. Okay, so pile 1, we have the feather. Pile 2, we have the shell. This is a real shell. And it's a real feather. It was a real feather. This is a real shell. And pile 3, we have what remains of my frankincense and myrrh bundle. So again, you have pile 1, the feather, pile 2, the shell, and pile 3, the frankincense and myrrh. Hi, so if you were drawn to the feather, okay, this is going to be your message about the lesson that you are currently learning right now in your experience, okay? So with you being drawn to the feather, it makes me first of all feel like you are being taught a lesson about communication, because the feather does carry, the energy of air, right? Which is about communication. Feathers represent messages, right? Or a messenger. With that being said, messenger, right? It also has to do with your thoughts. So I feel like right now you could be learning a lesson about how your spirit guides communicate with you, or how you receive information from your spirit guides, from source, from your ancestors, from the universe. Okay. And so I feel like you are learning something when it comes to interpreting this language, or sensing into the different ways that you are capable of communicating with your spirit guides and the universe. Okay. This could be something that you are trying to do more of or better enhance. And I feel like if that is what you're trying to do, all you have to do is just meditate more, okay? I feel like you are learning about clearing your mind, right? Where, again, it's like we always talk about, meditating is not about not thinking anything, right? It's impossible for us to not think, but it is about observing your thoughts. It's about letting them come and letting them go, right? And just acknowledging them and acknowledging the feelings that they cause to rise up, but not dwelling on those feelings, observing them and observing our thoughts. And this is how answers are going to come to you. This is how you are going to be able to communicate better with your spirit guides. Um, it ties in. This is a two-part or a double-sided message. There's a dog barking in the background. I don't know if you can hear it. Um, but it has a lot to do with what we're talking about, because the energy of the throat chakra is coming through in this. And so, like, it's like now I'm getting to tell you where, like, the dog barking, how it's tied into the message. I know that everything that happens during this reading is part of the message, right? And it's for me to communicate to you how signs, synchronicities, spirit, it's all around us all the time, and it's always communicating with us through everything, because everything is it, right? And everything is you, and everything is happening to support you if you are able to seek and find the signs that are guiding you and leading you in the direction that you're meant to go, right? Which you can more easily do when your heart is light, right? So when your mind is clear, back to what we were originally talking about, it's tied into the other part of this message where it has to do with, like, you not holding on to resentment. Okay, which brings me from the feather to the actual card that you chose, which you are drawn to this card, Piccolus. Okay. Now, Piccolus is a Prussian character. This is a figure from Prussian mythology that has a story that is similar to that of Hades in Greek mythology. Okay, so think like ruling the underworld type of energy. This is what you have been drawn to in this reading today, as far as a lesson that you are being taught right now. So, according to the Infernal Dictionary, which is a resource that I feel really drawn to at this time, Piccolus brings forward this message: beware of long-standing or family feuds, of allowing old resentments to linger past the time when anyone remembers what started the dispute. So it's bringing forward a message of you learning to transmute energy, right? You learning to clear your mind, because it is talking about things that still live rent free in your head, okay? That people have maybe done to you in the past, old family feuds, or resentments that have maybe built up between you and friends, or you and, maybe partners who you feel like have done you wrong. There's a blockage in the throat chakra, right? Where a lot is being held on to and not expressed. Okay. And I feel like there's a blockage in the throat and then in the third eye and crown area, because there's a lot of pessimistic type of thinking that has been a result of these negative experiences, or there is like negative thinking maybe that is directed at the people who have done these things, which is taking up this space in the crown and third eye chakra, which is preventing you from being able to receive downloads, preventing you from being able to tap into your intuition, come up with ideas, feel clear-headed, lighthearted, things like that, right? And so we're talking about the throat chakra, but I want to now mention the heart chakra as well, because we are talking about blockages being here and here, right? But they're being caused by the blocked heart chakra, because of course, so it feels like people who are drawn to this pile, maybe the energy is blocked starting here, okay, starting in the heart, because there could be still some shadow work that needs to be done. It feels like there's some forgiveness that needs to be found still, where you could still be allowing the ego to convince you to identify yourself with some type of negative treatment that you have either received or maybe that you have even done to others, right? And so I feel like there's a message coming forward about finding forgiveness for yourself and those who have hurt you, because it's going to free you, right? When we have forgiveness for people who have hurt us and done us wrong, it doesn't excuse the behavior or send a message that what they did was okay, right? But what it does do is it helps us to put ourselves in the other person's shoes, right? It helps us to understand that hurt people hurt people. And why is that important to realize, right? To let go of this resentment and to be able to find forgiveness, because you have to realize where holding on to this resentment, holding on to this energy of like feuding or being in a dispute or being at odds with someone is keeping you tied to these ideas that you have about yourself, like I said, that are a result of the way that you were treated, abused, neglected, not chosen, betrayed, lied to, whatever the case is, right? And if you can be empathetic and put yourself in the other person's shoes and realize, right, that because the same way that you have had resentment or hatred or any type of negative feelings towards other people grow in your heart and cause you to send out negative energy or maybe do negative things to people who were undeserving, that's the same thing that has happened to you at the hands of another, right? Hurt people hurt people. And so when you realize that, it's very freeing because it helps you to realize, okay, it was nothing about me. It was nothing that I did to deserve the way I was treated. It's a result of this person and their traumas and the things that they have been through and their inability to cope with it and their need to still heal their self and to change, right? So there's a lot of freedom and peace in that moment of forgiveness, okay? And the clarity that it brings. So you also were getting the death card, okay, from one deck. I pulled 2 cards, also tarot cards. We have the death card coming out first, which made a lot of sense to me. Getting this like underworld type of energy with the Piccolus and then having the death card. It feels like that is a lesson that you are learning at this time about transmuting energy, about sitting with your feelings and getting to the core of where they stem from and changing that part of yourself or integrating that part of yourself so much so that it is no longer a trigger for you. Okay. Like I see you fully leaving something in the past. I see, not in the sense where you forget, but in the sense of where it doesn't affect you in the same way that it used to. Okay. That is a lesson that you are being taught right now, is to be at peace with the past and to fully release it. Okay. You are also getting the Hermit card energy. Okay. You could possibly be a Scorpio or a Virgo drawn to this video. Okay. Drawn to this pile, excuse me. But you also have this Hermit card energy. So a lesson that you are being taught right now is, again, like we had talked about a lot in the beginning with meditating, is about seeking answers within yourself. Self-reflection. You are learning a lesson about how powerful you really are, how resilient you really are, and how the things that hurt you ultimately made you stronger and a better version of yourself, and a person who can shine this guiding light for others and show them the way to also change, also transmute energy, also release the things that burden them so that they can elevate and so that they can move on and so that they can find happiness and peace in this experience as well. So that's what I feel is coming through for you today. Thank you so much for joining me in this video. If you feel drawn to another pile, then I will see you there. If not, then I'll see you in another video. I do hope that you like this video and you subscribe so I can see you again in the future. Take care. Bye. Hello, welcome everyone who was drawn to the second pile, which was the shell. Okay. So the first things that I'm getting off of you being drawn to this shell, first and foremost, is that something you can be learning right now. I feel like first of all, like maybe my fellow water signs are drawn to this pile. Okay. I will say that there's a lot of similarities between. I honestly think all three piles are connected, but there's already a lot of similar. I know for a fact that pile 2 and 3 are connected, and there's already a lot of similarities between uh, this pile and the first pile. So you might be drawn to all three piles. Okay, but I do feel like water signs, especially, are drawn to this pile. I feel like people who are naturally very intuitive, who are naturally very gifted. Okay, so you could you'd be learning more about your spiritual gifts at this time. You could be learning more about your own abilities to um, divine messages through interpretation, right? So maybe you're noticing a lot more signs and synchronicities. I feel people drawn to this are like, at different levels, but everyone drawn to this is very gifted, right? So I feel like either you're on whatever part of, whether you're just learning, you're just tapping into these gifts, or maybe you've been tapped in for a while and you do different forms of divination, which if that's the case, I feel like you are experiencing your gifts heightening at this time. You maybe, I feel like whoever's drawn to this, like you're at a point of like leveling up something, right? So if maybe you've just always been intuitive, had strong gut feelings or premonitions, or um, whatever the case is, right? Like now you're leveling up to maybe doing some actual divination, like maybe you're getting your own tarot cards or whatever other um, tools you might feel called to. The fact that you're called to the shell, it made me think about the fact that a lot of people do divine messages from shells. So that could be something that you're drawn to. In addition to that, like people who have, maybe you are a reader already, right? Maybe you already do readings, like maybe you only have been reading for yourself and maybe you're ready to start trying to read for other people. Okay. Or maybe you already read for other people and maybe you're drawn to, maybe you only use like tarot cards and now you feel drawn to using shells, or you feel drawn to reading a flame, or you feel drawn to, I feel like, expanding your skill set in some kind of way. Okay. So that's what this is heavily giving me, is like an energy of like leveling up spiritually and like leveling up, like unlocking new spiritual gifts, or like seriously strengthening spiritual gifts that you have. Okay. So that's what I feel first and foremost for people who are drawn to this shell. Okay. Now for the actual card, hold on a second. Okay, now for the actual card that you have been drawn to in this pile with the shell is this one. Okay, so you have Azazel. So Azazel is a fallen angel, right? Azazel is a fallen angel and he is associated with scapegoating, okay? You see how he has a goat here. Now, story about Azazel is he was an angel and he gave humans lots of tools. Wow, it's really interesting because it's interesting that this is coming out because Azazel gave humans tools that Azazel ended up being cast out of heaven because of the way that humans use these tools. Think of like Prometheus, right? Creating fire and then being punished because of humans using fire for destruction, right? Same idea. Azazel gave humans different tools, taught them how to make different tools, and these humans use these tools to fight, to seduce. Okay. Um, Specifically, he taught people how to make. Here, let's check the book because it's this could resonate with someone, because you could also be someone who maybe like something you're learning is like your ability to like create products. Like maybe you are creating some type of products. Maybe you are like charging these products with some type of energy. Okay. Weapons and cosmetics. Okay, yeah. Azazel was an angel who taught humankind how to make weapons and cosmetics. So you might be drawn to like making maybe some type of like intentional jewelry or some type of like intentional products. Okay, that's something else that I was getting for this as well. Or again, it's tied back to that message about doing divination, right? Because this pile is talking about using tools, right? And and the story of Azazel is talking about humans being given tools and then using those tools um, for reasons that the purposes that they were not supposed to serve. Okay. So again, it's like really giving like maybe somebody drawn to this pile has this witch wound still where maybe there's some type of taboo around um, what it is that we're doing here or different spiritual practices in general because of some type of preconditioning. And it's really bringing forward the message that it is not about the tool, it's about who's using it. Okay, because people use all different types of spiritual tools. A Bible is a spiritual tool, right? People use all types of spiritual tools for all different reasons. It depends on the person who's using it, not what the tool itself is. Nothing is inherently good or bad. Okay, it has everything to do with what you decide to do with it, just like humans did with fire and just like humans did with weapons, which they could have used to protect themselves versus using them for harm. Cosmetics, which they could have used to enhance their beauty versus using them to trick or seduce, right? So there's something about that here. Okay. Now, the reason of why I felt like this one was a lot tied to the first pile is because of the message that Azazel is bringing forward with the scapegoat energy. Okay. And I'm going to read a little bit more out of the Infernal Dictionary than I did in the first pile because I feel like it's really relevant. Okay. So there are many situations that are no one's fault or the fault of so many people that no one person should take the blame. But it's still important that we find one person to punish, whether that person truly deserves punishment or not. But when good things happen, by again chance or confluence, we don't spend as much time looking around for one person to reward, do we? Now, the message that Azazel is bringing forward is to beware of looking for someone to blame in situations in which no one person is responsible. Focus on fairness and offering equal praise for success as blame for mistakes. So it reminded me of the first pile a lot because that pile was about holding on to grudges. That pile was about having resentment for having been wronged. Okay. And so Azazel is bringing forward a similar message of where it's like, it's really about forgiveness. Okay. Because it says, beware of looking for someone to blame in situations in which no person is responsible. Remember at the beginning where it said, there are many situations that are no one's fault or the fault of so many people that no one person should take the blame. And so in the previous pile, we talked about people we talked about hurt people hurting people, right? And so it's bringing forward really similar message, right? Where we're acknowledging that hurt people, and that is freeing us from holding a grudge. That is freeing us from holding resentment. That is freeing us from becoming bitter, being in a negative energy, becoming like the person that has wronged us in a sense, right? By taking on this negative energy and allowing ourselves to be affected by them, right? Rather than being able to have compassion, rather instead being able to release. Okay, this is the lesson that you are being taught right now. Okay, that hurt people, right? There are some situations where so many people are at fault that no one person should take the blame. So how is it relevant, right? How is it relevant? Because hurt people, right? So it's like that person hurt you, but somebody hurt them. And the person who hurt them, somebody had hurt that person. And it has just gone on for a very, very, very long time, right? So you being a generational curse breaker, right? You literally choosing to incarnate here to be the bigger person, right? To raise the collective vibration, you have to be an alchemist. You have to be the transmuter of this energy, right? You have to be the thermostat and not the thermometer, right? Or you can't let, like, basically what this is coming down to is who has the dominant vibration, right? So if there's anger, there's bitterness, you feel like someone is a bad person and deserves to get punished, or they have done all of these things to people and you feel like they shouldn't just get away with it, and you're holding on to those type of feelings, you have to consider where we're all the villain in someone's story, and we are all sinners. All sins are equal in God's eyes, so to speak. Now, don't get caught up on the semantics. Stay with me here where it has to do with balance, right? The Lord being karma, okay? And if you are incarnated here in this experience, it is because there is karma that it needs to be balanced, okay? And it is not up to us to decide, right? That's how you keep your heart as light as a feather, right? By giving up to the universe to handle, this is a strong message coming through today, giving up to the universe to handle, to fight your battles for you. You can let go of all hatred and you can let go of all resentment. And now I do feel like it's on my heart to share a personal example, and I will, and then I'll move on to more lessons that I feel like you're learning at this time. But I will use myself as an example where I hated my own mom for like a lot of my life, like because of the things that she did to me. And in reality, it's like when I think about the things that my mom went through at the same ages that I was when she was putting me through certain things, it's honestly it seems a lot worse even, or it's equally as bad, or it's equally as bad if not worse, and it makes me feel so sad actually, and so much compassion if I step outside of myself, right? If I connect to the all-seeing eye and I have a higher perspective and I understand that I'm the observed and the observer simultaneously, it's like I end up feeling bad, you know. This is reminding me of a guided meditation I did many years ago where the person leading the meditation led us into a pyramid, and inside of this pyramid is every single person that you know in your life that you interact with, but they're all only 3 years old. And it was amazing, like the visualization, because we had took a long time to like get deep into the transcendental state, right? And so by the time we're in this pyramid and these 3-year-old versions of everyone are called forward, it was very vivid. It was very vivid. And during that meditation, this was like back in probably like 2016 or 17, like I was overcoming a lot of sexual trauma that I was still holding on to. And I was like, you know, in my like middle to late 20s by this point, and I was still releasing a lot of sexual trauma that I had, and I still am. If I'm being honest, like I feel there's still some transmuting I'm doing of like sexual trauma that I have. But I was really able to release a lot of that. I was able to find a lot of forgiveness for that person, the people who sexually abused me through that meditation, where they were there. I could see them as clear as day. They're the 3-year-old versions of their self. And I was able to see, I was able to feel, right, in my mind's eye, their experience and all of the things that they had went through that led up to them becoming the way that they were, so much to where they inflicted pain onto me. And I was easily able to forgive them. I was easily able to forgive them. And it's my desire for everyone to be able to find the level of peace that forgiveness for others brings. And I know that in doing that, we will bring so much more light to the world, because there are a lot of people who are staying stuck in negative thought patterns and cycles of violence, abuse, all of these negative things that are bred from depression because there is no light in the world. There is no forgiveness, right? So it's like by continuing to send out this energy of like people deserve to get punished and like all of these things, it's like we're putting out negative energy, which is all we can receive back. So it's important for us to put out positivity instead. You're also getting the High Priestess card. So I had already said I felt like water signs could definitely be drawn to this pile, Pisces specifically. And again, we're literally seeing depicted here already the message we were already getting about you doing your own divination or using specific kind of tools, maybe feeling drawn to getting some new type of tools. I'm also getting a message now about familiars. Okay, about familiars or spirit guides that are coming to you through the form of an animal. I feel like this animal is already around you. Okay, or it will be very soon. If you don't have a pet already, don't be surprised if you unexpectedly end up getting one. Okay, so I can also say, like, if you have a familiar, if you have a spirit guide who has come to you through an animal, you would have got this animal. There would have been synchronicities surrounding you getting this animal, or you would have you would have obtained this animal unexpectedly. Okay, so if either of those two things happen, where either you unexpectedly obtain the animal, or you sought the animal out, but there were like very specific signs and synchronicities about the animal specifically and how it relates to you or your experience, that's definitely a familiar. Okay. That's definitely familiar. And if it's a cat specifically, you might notice that they're very drawn to when you are like your spiritual practice, or they're very drawn to your spiritual tools, because my cat is, and all of the cats I ever have always been. Okay, like they're very drawn to it. And they are a great transmuter of energy too. And so this spirit guide animal is here to help you to channel these messages. They're here to help strengthen your psychic gifts, and they're also here to help you transmute energy. Okay, so a lot of messages here about like learning to ground your energy, learning to cleanse your your psychic body, your auric field. Okay, so hopefully people in this pile, if you maybe don't know, like, I'm not going to get too into it so we don't make this too long, but grounding techniques, cleansing techniques for yourself, grounding and cleansing for yourself, and also cleansing for these spiritual tools as well, is another message I'm getting coming through to me. Okay. You're also getting, and then again, it made me feel this water energy, a lot of water energy here. Like you could really be drawn to water. Like you could be drawn to the beach. You could be just drawn to natural bodies of water. Using water as part of your divination and part of your spiritual practice as like your main element could be something that's really significant, maybe to people in this pile. Ooh, so, hold on, I'm sorry. I gotta write something down. Okay, I just wanted to really quickly write down that from now on, I'm going to do 4 piles and have 4 elements, because I felt drawn to using the elements as representation for the pile selections. And the first pile was air. This pile is water. The third pile subsequently ended up being fire. And now I'm realizing we should have had an earth energy to choose from as well. So I don't know why I didn't think of that before, but yeah, you know what you need to know when you need to know it. So I trust that 3 piles was perfect for this video, and I trust that me receiving that download in front of you was on purpose, right? So that's how that happens. It just came to me like that. So I didn't try to think it up. Make sure that you're following me on TikTok. Okay, I'm going to also be, and you can also subscribe to the Patreon, where the TikTok replays are going to be available for replay. Okay, because there's a lot more downloads and a lot more spirit guide messages that we're going to be going over on the TikTok. So I'm going to leave the handle to subscribe or to follow it in the description box. Okay. And I'll leave the Patreon. So if you can't make to the TikTok lives, you'll be able to watch the replays. It's only $4 a month for a month. Okay. So, yeah. So lastly, so again, with the water, right? So you're getting the Knight of Cups in this pile. Okay. So a lesson that you're learning, I'm feeling here, is about following your heart. It's also about, this is really giving me like a strong, like acts of service type of energy, especially if you're a water sign or you have a lot of water energy in your natal chart, right? You could just be very like naturally nurturing, you're naturally giving, you're naturally caring, right? And so that can be why you end up holding on to a lot of resentment, because you are very sensitive and you're very loving, right? So when you get hurt, it hurts very severely, and it does cause your spirit to want to defend and protect you, because you don't deserve to be treated in the ways that you have, right? By a particular person. But your spirit guide wants you to take that energy and transmute it by doing things that are kind for others, right? Because you have a kind heart, and you naturally feel drawn to being in service of others. And I just feel like people who are drawn to this one, your psychic gifts and abilities are going to strengthen so much when your energy is able to rise up from the heart chakra, where there's lacking forgiveness, or there's lacking understanding, right? It'll be able to rise up more through the throat than to the third eye and crown. Okay. So I'm going to leave this one like that. I really hope this is helpful to whoever watches it about the lessons that you're learning at this time. Okay. I appreciate you guys so much. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye. Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone who was drawn to the third pile, which was the frankincense and myrrh remnants. Okay. So you could have definitely been drawn to another pile in which we did talk about the use of spiritual tools. And we talked specifically in pile 2 about cleansing and protecting your energy and your spiritual tools, and different ways you can do that. And burning frankincense and myrrh is definitely one of those ways. So that could be something that you're being taught right now, is the importance of cleansing and protecting yourself spiritually, or the importance of cleansing and protecting your spiritual tools. Okay. You could definitely be a fire sign drawn to this, have a lot of fire in your chart, or you could just heavily resonate with the energy of fire. Okay, you could really be drawn to fire. Now, as for like the actual card that you have got being drawn to this pile, is, I'm not going to lie, I don't actually know how to say this, but I think it's Yangantiatan. Okay. So Yangantiatan, right? This is from Great Britain, I think. Brittany. Okay, Brittany. I don't know if that's Great Britain. It is Great Britain, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Will-o'-the-Wisp, English folklore. Okay, so this is from English folklore. Okay, this entity here, this figure. Okay, so from English folklore. So he has 5 candles, which are actually his fingers. Wow, I have to tell you guys something. So, ooh, this is so cool. This is interesting that this is happening right now, because when I laid these piles out, if you watch the second pile, you already heard me explain how pile 1 was represented with air, pile 2 represented with water with the shell there. Also, it gives an earth energy, which I thought we skipped over earth, but the shell also gives earth as well, because it technically is a rock, but it is found near water. So I kind of connected it to like water and mermaids, but honestly, it is earth as well. But then we have this pile, which was represented with fire. I represented it with fire because I burned this, right? And when I was first laying the piles out, I can't lie to you. I had this in the second spot. I had this in the second spot with the shell, and I had the card that I had with the shell with this frankincense and myrrh. And something told me to switch them around. And I was like, I wondered, and I thought it had something to do with specifically why the second card went with the shell, which that obviously is for a reason. But now I'm noticing how I don't know how it didn't click to me before, because I looked at this before I started filming, and I don't know how it didn't click in my brain. Well, obviously for a reason, so you could witness this, but it didn't click in my brain how he's associated with fire. He has the flames as his fingers, and the way I communicate with my spirit guides, I'm literally like, why do you want to be with this specifically? Like, why did you make me switch it around? And now I realize this association with fire, with the fire fingers. So that's crazy. All right, I had to tell you that. Now, in this English folklore, he sometimes uses his fingers, which is this could represent a spiritual tool for him, right? He uses it to either light the way for travelers who are lost, or he sometimes lures travelers from their path and into dangerous geography. Okay. So the message that it brings forward is focusing on finding your way when off the beaten path, but beware of being led astray by distractions. So a couple of things that I'm getting off of this, right, is like, for one, if you yourself are a practitioner, we talked about this in the last pile, using your gifts, using your spiritual tools for good, right? So there's a message coming through here about that. Of course, it's your choice, but you have been led here today to see what lesson you're learning right now. And there's a lesson about using your spiritual gifts or your spiritual tools to either guide people or to lure people, right? To use your gift either for good or for not good, right? So there's a message coming through about that. I feel like it's also bringing a message forward about people that you receive guidance from, okay? Because the divination is focus on finding your way when off the beaten path, but beware of being led astray by distractions. So he brings forward the message and symbolism of being a distraction, luring a person away from the path that they're supposed to be going, right? So it's telling you to be mindful. So it's like you should trust your own discernment and your own intuition above anything. If anything anyone says does not resonate with you in your heart, then it is not your truth, okay? So it's not on the other person who is giving you the guidance, right? You can only really deceive yourself by not trusting your intuition, because somebody else, maybe somebody is intentionally trying to lure you off your path, trying to trick you, distract you, right? Maybe that is actively happening. Or maybe someone thinks that they're in the right. Maybe someone thinks that they're doing something good, right? Maybe someone thinks that. And if you don't have discernment and you don't trust your inner guidance and wisdom, how will you will still follow, you'll end up following a person thinking they're well intentioned, and maybe they are, only to still be misguided because it wasn't your truth, right? It says, focus on finding your way when off the beaten path. Focus on finding your way. It's telling you to go within yourself. It's telling you to go within yourself to find answers, and at the very least, go within yourself to gain discernment about other people who you feel like are someone that you should be guided by if you feel like you are needing guidance outside of yourself. Someone who can lead you back to yourself, someone who can show you how to seek those answers within, instead of trying to give you the answers for yourself. Okay, that's what this is about. You also get in this Nine of Cups energy. Also get in this Nine of Cups energy. Okay, coming out here for a lesson that you're learning right now. Okay. It says live in a constant state of gratitude. So you're being taught about living in a constant state of gratitude. You're being taught about gratitude here. Okay. I really feel a message coming forward about like you may be feeling like there is something you're supposed to be doing, something you're supposed to be accomplishing, some goal line or deadline or finish line that you are supposed to be reaching. And there could be, I'm getting like an energy of maybe there being a dissatisfaction with your current circumstances or the way that things are, or the fact that certain things haven't materialized or manifested into your experience at this time. And I feel like there's a message that's coming forward about being grateful for what you have, and that being able to raise your vibration to attract more of that same feeling of gratitude, the more things that match that energy of feeling like you have reasons to be grateful, right? There's also something about, there's a message coming forward about remembering that the journey is the sacred place and not the destination. There's a message coming forward about not doing something as a means to an end, because that end is not guaranteed, right? And that end may not be what we are ultimately destined for. It may not be what we thought it was going to be. So it's bringing forward the message of not investing time, energy, resources into things that aren't a full body yes for you, things that are just a means to an end, things that you don't really want to be doing, but you're doing them in order to get some type of like payout or have some type of experience later. Spirit guide is saying that the only thing that is real is the present, and what becomes created in the future is based on how you currently feel in the present, right? So this is about you're learning about living in the wish fulfilled, right? Like you're learning about mastering the walking meditation, right? Where you aren't fixated on the past and things that you've lost and ways that you used to feel that you miss. And you aren't fixated on the future. What's going to happen? When is it going to happen? How is it going to happen? And how, when it finally does, you can feel better again. You're learning about bringing yourself to the present moment and appreciating it and fully immersing yourself in the experience, because the present is the gift. The present is the reward. And that's what you're being taught at this time. Okay. It brings us right into your last card that you got, which was the Seven of Pentacles. It's about patience. So that's something that you're being taught is about patience. You're being taught to whistle while you work. You're being taught to romanticize your life. You're being taught to stop and smell the flowers. You're being taught to focus on what it is that you do have to be grateful for. You're being taught a lesson about cultivating something. You're being taught a lesson about cultivating something over a period of time. I don't know why in my head I'm hearing no risk, no reward. So I don't know if someone needs to hear that, or someone is saying that. I don't know. No risk, no reward. So maybe that's something here. It's reminding me of, it was saying something in the book about being on or off, I'm hearing the beaten path. I don't even think it said that. It didn't say the beaten path. Okay. It would be safest to say that if you are already on the right path, little good can come of running off it. But if you are lost, any light in the darkness may be of some help. So no risk, no reward. So maybe your spirit guide, because we were getting that message about doing something that you don't really want to be doing as a means to an end. Your spirit guide is bringing forward the message that the end that you want to achieve can be obtained through means that feel good to you and that are enjoyable to you, that you can take your time with, right? You don't feel like you're rushing to get through it and finish it because you don't really want to be doing it. You're enjoying the process of doing it. That can obtain the end that you think it can obtain the same end that you think you are going to get through by doing something that you don't really want to be doing, but feel like you have to be doing. Okay. And for people who are drawn to this one, let's see. It says that I feel like no, because I'm hearing this no risk, no reward. So maybe there's something that you've been wanting to do, maybe there's something that you've wanted to fully immerse yourself into more, and your spirit guide is bringing forward the message that now is the time. Or for others of you, it's like maybe you feel like you want to go down a different path, but you don't know what that path is yet. It will be presented to you. Okay. The more you get present, the more you get in alignment with your truth, which is that you feel a calling towards something other than what it actively is that you're doing. And the answers will come to you. The next step forward will be revealed to you at the perfect time. Okay, so I'm going to leave this like that. I really hope that it's helpful to whoever does watch this. Leave me a comment if any of this resonated with you. Make sure you check out any other piles if you felt drawn to them. You can also check out my first channel at Void of Course 69, where I have my all signs readings. Okay, I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.